Hey everyone, this is Jenn Speaks About Parenting, and I'm Jenn. If you're new to the channel, let me just start by saying welcome. This is a place where we know that parenting does not have to be difficult, but it does take a little effort. Here I talk about things that help ultimately with that goal in mind. If that sounds like something you're interested in, we would love to have you hit that subscribe button. And if you're not quite ready to commit just yet, that's fine. We like likes as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Today we are talking about parenting through the 5 love languages. If you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, they are from the book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. If you have not heard of it or read it, it is a remarkable book, and I absolutely recommend it for anybody who has not read it yet. So in this book, Gary Chapman proposes that we use 5 different languages to show and express love. The 5 languages being words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, giving of gifts, and acts of service. If the thought is that each of us, whether we realize it or not, focuses on 1 or 2 of these languages to express love and feel love others express in the same language. So, for example, if you speak the love language of quality time, then you're going to feel a lot more love from someone who, let's say, spends time drinking coffee with you than you would from somebody who buys you a dozen roses. The spending time drinking coffee together would be the love language of quality time, whereas purchasing the roses for someone would fall into the category of gift giving. So now the love languages are typically related to relationships of a romantic nature, but it works with any relationship, even children and parents. In most cases, if you wanted to work on your love language in a relationship, you would go to any of the several websites out there that have the love language quiz on them. Both of you would take the quiz, find out what your love languages are, and then you could move forward from that point. But when it comes to parent-children relationships, it's a little bit more difficult because in a lot of cases, the child may be too young to actually understand the concept of love, much less take a quiz on what kind of love language they might have. And so the question is, what are we supposed to do in cases like that? How do we speak our child's love language to them if we can't even figure out what that love language is? And I'm so glad you asked that question, because that is exactly why I'm making this video. I propose that the 5 love languages are not 5 distinct different languages, but are in fact 5 expressions of one cohesive language. So in order to truly relate to your child, you should learn to speak all 5 of these languages and understand them as well. Not only does this cover our basis when it comes to understanding when your child is trying to speak to you in their love language, but it also greatly benefits your child to be spoken to in each of these different languages, developmentally wise. So an example of this would be words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, positive words strengthen areas in the frontal lobes and promote the brain's cognitive functioning. So in other words, when you speak positively to your child, it helps to develop their frontal lobe where thinking occurs and problem solving. Another example would be several studies have been done on this where they speak positively to some plants and speak negatively to other plants. And in these tests or whatever you call them, the plants that were spoken positively to thrived, whereas the ones that were spoken negatively to did not thrive. They actually did worse than the control group. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that speaking positively to your child or using words of affirmation actually can have a benefit on their growth and development. The second one would be quality time. Studies show that kids who receive one-on-one time do better at school, have greater language skills, and higher self-confidence. So basically, kids who their parents spend time with them on a daily basis, like often, their capability for education expands. They're more able to learn things, whether it's at school or anywhere else. They also are able to communicate through language easier from that benefit of that time with those parents. And then it has an effect on their self-confidence as well. This also results in them being less likely to participate in risky behaviors as teenagers. And their self-confidence, it's like when you spend time with a child, you're telling them, I like you enough to spend time with you. And that translates to their brain that if my parent likes me, I must be someone worth liking. Therefore, they begin to like themselves. And when you like yourself, you're less likely to try to change yourself or do things to make other people like you. The third one is physical touch. So tactile stimulation boosts children's development and increases their understanding of the world and of themselves. When it comes to infants, tactile stimulation, that's physical touch. It will boost the child's development, and it will increase the way they understand the world around themselves and also themselves as well. When it comes to infants, the way that they learn before they know anything is by moving their limbs about and seeing what happens. So by hitting things in their environment or themselves, they learn that way. They start to develop who they are, what's around them in those ways from that physical touch. And there's also been studies to show that rubbing your child's back or giving them hugs and kisses, that physical touch stuff, will actually reduce the cortisol hormone, which is the stress hormone, and it will increase endorphins, which is the feel-good hormone. So by loving on them, spending time with them, rubbing their back, giving them hugs and kisses, you're reducing their stress level and increasing their happiness, which will ultimately transfer into habits that they create as an adult. The next one is the giving of gifts. This teaches children about generosity and empathy. Now, gift giving often gets a bad rap because of materialism, which is not thought of as a good thing at all. But gift giving is more than that. When a person receives a gift that truly means something to them, it's something that they actually like, what that translates to the child is that this person has taken time to find the perfect gift, that they know me, they see me, and I matter to them. So by giving them gifts, you are telling them that they matter enough to you for you to not only give them something, but to give them something that they actually, that should mean something to them. It also helps them in understanding what others might like or not like. When they are practicing giving gifts to someone else, they're going to go through thinking, does this person, are they going to like this? Are they not going to like this? And that works on their empathy skills. So it teaches them to think about other people and what other people may be feeling. The next one is acts of service. So acts of service teaches children how to help others and those in need. It teaches about doing your part and being a part of something. And so acts of service it's not just about doing stuff for people. It's about creating an atmosphere that everybody has a purpose in. So like in a family, when it has to do with chores and stuff, these acts of service that the children are doing in order to be part of the family, it builds up that self-confidence. It builds up their desire to be part of something more than themselves, to think of somebody else besides just themselves. to think about what a person may need rather than like. So that's where it's different from the giving of gifts. Whereas acts of service concentrates on what others needs, and gift giving concentrates on what others will like. Both are very important in knowing how to relate with other people. And it also helps them to think of what can I do that is going to make life easier for someone else. And in receiving it, it tells the person that they care. It tells the child that you care enough about them to meet their needs. So now I'll probably do individual videos on each of the 5 love languages in the future and how they affect our children at a later date. But for now, you can see how these examples can nurture the different developmental parts of a child and how it can build up their confidence in themselves and their abilities, which should greatly reduce the likelihood of them being pushed into bad decisions later on in life. So that's about it. Hopefully you heard something here that was worth hearing. And if you did, likes are muchly appreciated. And if you really liked it, a subscribe would bring you more. If you're interested in hearing more from me, check out my other channel about how to be better at life. It is JennSpeaks About Life, and I will link it below in the description. So until next time, remember that every moment we spend with our child today helps build the foundation of their tomorrow.